dreams come true.
Hello guys, today we are going to be talking about YG Entertainment. In this video we won't only say that YG is a piece of shit, because we all already know that, but very few people say the actual reasons why they suck. They are not only bad because of last year's scandals, this is something that has been going on for years. We can tell that YG has been improving since they changed their CEO, giving most LF their groups, such as AKMU, iKON and even Setskis, but sadly no Blackpink comeback was ever announced until a year and 2 months went by, even though they are the public's fabs along with Big Bang. Their debut was also kinda weird because they released 2 songs at the same time and then disappeared to come back with a single, and it wasn't until 2 years later when they finally released their first mini-album. As you'll probably know by now, Blackpink is expecting to come back in June, and it looks like this time we are not being clowned. The thing is that rumors say that this comeback will also be a mini-album, as photos of it were released in Japanese websites, and Blinks are clearly not having it. At this point it's pretty obvious that Blackpink holds the biggest fanbase for a girl group, and nobody understands why YG isn't taking advantage of this. The girls look extremely bored because they barely have nothing to do, especially Jisoo and Rose, whose personal activities are around 20, meanwhile Jennie's and Lisa's are around 50. The cause of how long it takes them to make a comeback may be because all of their songs are made by the same person, Teddy, and even though other composers such as RT help him, most of the songs are written by him. The thing is that YG has tons of talented songwriters like Vince, for example, and if they helped him, it would be easier to release more music, but of course there might be a reason as of why it doesn't work like this, not to mention that even the girls could help him, but they are not allowed to. YG thinks that Blinks are willing to wait as long as they want, because once they come back, they are gonna support them as much as always, and honestly, they are right. A lot of Blinks know this, and another ton of them keep saying that they are tired of waiting. However, no matter what they put out, they end up streaming or buying whatever it is, so at the end, they do have another reason to not make comebacks so often, but the girls are human and deserve better. Not to mention the fact that Seungri's 123 was supposed to be for Rose, since she had already recorded it, but Seungri took it instead. Another thing that gets on my nerves is the fact that they never go to any TV program. It's been ages since we last saw them going to Knowing Brothers or Weekly Idol. It feels like they are trying to get them out of K-pop somehow, not to mention that they don't go to any award show and to any Mnet related stuff, and let's be honest, Mnet have the most interesting programs and special things to go to. We really hope that this comeback they get proper promotions and that they go to awards instead of touring again. Now, iKON are another group that I feel bad for. Ever since their debut they have been doing way too many things. Firstly, they went through a program to decide who would debut first, iKON or Winner, then they have to go through another program to decide the final members of iKON, after that Bobby and Hanbin took part in Show Me the Money, and lastly they also appeared in a Chinese survival show, and at the same time they were doing a tour, so they had to be flying around Asia and back to China every now and then. Even though iKON has a decent number of songs and albums, YG pushed a lot of comebacks back. Most of their comebacks of 2018 were written in 2016, but YG didn't let them use these songs, God knows why. In 2016 the Mob debuted, a group consisting of Bobby and Winner's Mino. The group was a complete flop because they were barely promoted and fan wars between Inner Circles and Iconics were getting out of hand. Bobby also debuted as a soloist, but once again, no promotions. 2018 was a really good year for iKON. Love Scenario became one of the most popular songs of the year, Killing Me did pretty well, and Goodbye Road did amazing. At this point iKON's fanbase kept getting bigger and bigger, but then 2019 happened. Hanbin, the leader and composer of the group, had his contract terminated because of accusations, saying that he allegedly consumed drugs. This was later proven to be false, but what hurts the most is that YG threw him as soon as he could. Not even a day went by and BI was out of sight. Meanwhile, another person whose name I'm not even going to mention was protected by the company for at least a month. This controversy made iKON go on a year-long hiatus, and after that they came back with Dive, a song that could have done pretty well, but somehow didn't. Moving on into Treasure, a group created by a really cool program, which was aired almost 2 years ago. This group was firstly supposed to debut on 2019, but after all the drama that went down, their debut was delayed, and one of the members left the company. Honestly, it's insane how much pressure they guys must have gone through just to get their comeback delayed. This program was really poorly executed, the final was a literal mess. YG, who announced the lineup, only announced 4 out of 7 members and decided that it was a good idea to name the other 3 one by one during the next 3 days. The public was furious. YG didn't take in consideration the public's opinion, leaving out of the lineup members like Michiho, who was the most voted trainee. After receiving tons of backlash, YG decided to release a second lineup, adding almost all of the rest of the trainees to it, and later he wanted both lineups to become one group. Honestly, if Yang Hyun Suk didn't left the company, this groups would have ended up the same way that MXNE's group ended up. YG Entertainment said that they were planning on debuting Treasure this year, but what surprised fans the most was the announcement of another girl group. Let's take in consideration that Blackpink is almost 4 years old and that they have 13 songs, a remix of one of them, a cover of Wonder Girl So Hot, an acoustic version of one of their songs into solo. No full album, barely a comeback a year, and 3 members without a solo yet. Even the idea of creating a new girl group anytime soon is insane. Blackpink is the most famous girl group worldwide, and still they want to lock them even more in the basement to let other girls promote instead. I feel bad for the girls, whose rumored group name is Baby Monsters, which screams cringe, but that's not what matters. They will probably receive tons and tons of hate from Blinks, and honestly it's understandable that they are mad. 4 years and a total of less than 20 songs is seriously a problem. I really hope that YG promotes Blackpink better before debuting them, but at the same time I think about how YG's new CEO was the one that disbanded 2NE1, and it makes me think that Blackpink will end up the same way. This is still one of the most questionable things that YG has ever done. A lot of efforts from a ton of trainees, a lot of entertainments that were hoping for their groups to get more recognition, and a lot of fans willing to support them. The idea of the program wasn't bad, they could choose between debuting a girl group or a boy group, both with really famous and skilled trainees, but somehow they disappeared. MX9 announced that the boy lineup consisting of members like Treasure's Hyunsuk, CIXBX, One Team's Rubin, SCE Byungkwan, etc., was the winner and the group that was going to debut. But after a few months, YG apologized for the cancellation of their debut, the reason being that the program wasn't successful enough, and that if they were famous they would have debuted. This made fans question why the fuck was the show made for then, and sadly all of the trainees had to go back to training on their respective companies. Some of them took legal action against YG since his arguments, as of why the cancellation were rather confusing. He said that there was no plan of releasing an album, so at the end all the winners would receive would be the experience on training at YG, which is really dumb. At the end this program was just a loss of money for him, and it probably hurted a lot of trainees and fans. Anyways, that's all the problems that we have with this shitty company. There are a few more like 2NE1's disbandment, but as I am not a fan I didn't feel in the place to talk about it. I hope YG realizes the mistakes they are making as a company, and I hope one day they become a better one.